then he pulled his trousers back up and said, "I never ever want to see you again."
Yeah, I know. And
Good evening, November Foxtrot. Welcome to the show. Welcome to a sunny episode.
Sunny episode.
With that full complement of these two idiots.
Hey!
Flip flops on. Hello, flip flop phone.
And he's got
admin
privileges
again.
Again.
Glancing, reminiscing on his time in the headmaster's office. Oh, the slipper. I don't know if I'd like a spank, a flip flop, or a slipper.
I mean,
sorry if that's really loud. That's right by the microphone.
Yeah, I mean, with the bottle opener attachment on that.
Yes.
That's gonna if you got spanked with that, that's gonna hurt a little bit more. I think.
No, not at that end.
Or to avoid the spanking, you could say, "Oh, hang on, before you hit me, I've actually got a beer here. Would you like one?"
Okay, main question: who avoids the spanking? If there's one on offer,
I actively go for them.
Depends if you're 11 in the headmaster's office.
Yeah, isn't it weird? Like as a child, you try to avoid it, and then as an adult, you actively search for it.
We all try to avoid it.
Got my dad telling me stories of old. Yeah, when I was at school, I used to get spanked all the time by the teacher. Ooh, all right.
I had a chalkboard, like the old chalkboard eraser things. I had one of those lobbed in my head once.
Rightly so.
That wasn't that long ago.
Many a times I'd love to have thrown one of them at you, but I haven't got one.
My teacher used to actually throw the chalk, and he used to be like a bullet.
Little bits of chalk.
Like if he hit you, like it would always be square on the forehead.
My CDT teacher had his appendix in a jar on his desk in formaldehyde, and said, and if anyone ever dicked around it, he would threaten to make us chew a couple of inches off the end of it, and his appendix as well.
Catholic school.
Absolutely, of course, yes. Keeping up with current trends.
We're joined in the live studio audience. We've got Paulus Wales, Samurai. I say studio audience, virtual audience. Paulus Wales,
virtual studio.
To Pegasus, Danny Plain. Good evening.
Sup, G's? No, man.
No. That was really loud.
Am I really loud? Shall I turn me down?
I'm joined by James from Defiant Events as well. Hello.
Hello, James.
A little bit of a shout out to the Team Tomahawk from the latest battle sim that Defiant Events ran. The command team, I believe, was particularly well run, and it led to an overwhelming success. Ultimately, I'm just reporting the facts, Andy. It's not.
That's it. Yeah.
Well, where's our little mini debrief? Instead of
it's amazing how good you've got to be to put magnetic circles on a whiteboard, isn't it?
Yeah. No, in all honesty, the level.
Did you have one of them little sticks, Mike, like Bomber Command, where you could move the flags around the desk?
I could see.
No, I didn't.
One of them.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
I bet you had it in your bag, but you were too embarrassed to get it out. I bet that's what it was, wasn't it?
At one point,
everyone.
Little T-bar.
I did look for a stick at one point. I won't lie, because I thought, that would be funny. No, I didn't have one.
I fucking knew it. I knew it.
I'm going to buy you one for Christmas.
Yeah.
That's all Christmas presents sorted.
Here we go. Look, the numbers didn't have a factor. So the Team Tomahawk had six extra players. So yeah.
Good day, Phil. Check me out, Phil. I've got my thongs on, brother, with built-in bottle opener. Flaming galah. Crikey, and all that.
Here we go. This is from James at Defiant. The command team for Tomahawk did a good job. I did not expect to see that level of competence. I thought they'd need help, but they didn't. There we go.
That's very tongue-in-cheek, I reckon.
Yeah, I mean... Are you gonna
that's from James. You have to read into that.
No, it was a really good event, and I think the thing I was quite impressed with was the level of kind of teamwork between the ROs, for example. So the two ICs and the TLs of the team were obviously managing stuff on the ground, but like the ROs were just constantly on it in terms of feeding intel back. So not just, we've achieved this objective, we're in this building. They're obviously asking questions. They're seeing enemy players And it was all the stuff that we, funnily enough, had talked about in our TL series, the last couple of episodes. And I appreciate this is an RO, not a TL. The ROs were kind of giving us all that intel and giving us that information to the point of we were plotting the enemy forces moving around the map as well. So we could then coordinate our teams. So a couple of the players, and I'm not trying to sound big-headed here, but a couple of the players were like, it was almost like having a drone in the sky in terms of knowing where the enemy team were going to be moving to. Because it gave the guys on the ground that level of heads up. And it worked really well. And I think it just goes to show that, again, we were only using Baofengs, so these weren't fancy radios or anything like that. It was just good teamwork, good team communication.
What was comms like running the Baofengs at Longmoor? All good?
It was absolutely fine. Like, we had no issues with signal at any point. I think there was one dead spot that we struggled to get like people on the radio for.
Was that over by a water tower by chance or not?
No, we weren't predominantly over there. This was more, I think, around the garages. The ones towards between the links
pretty much opposite side of
yeah. So I don't know. The one learning curve I think taken away was when the RO died. That was the end of the comms from that team. So
right.
Did their TL not have comms to you then either?
No, so it was just the RO. So, and that's fine, if that's how people want to run. But the TLs and the 2ICs and everything like that have obviously already got a lot that they're dealing with because coordinating people on the ground is already a challenge. But I think it is something that would be worth considering is that if you've got a TL, an RO role, it might be worth having a backup RO role. Now, I don't know if there's a name for that.
Even as a TL, though, I've always run comms to 0, even if I can just listen into the RO, make sure what I've asked them to transfer to 0 is being done correctly,
Yeah, how it's
or
done,
even having your channel on a secondary, have 0 on a secondary, just so you can buzz over and say RO's down, I'm now RO on fucking Alpha 131.
See, I was thinking of it, you potentially just use your 2IC as a backup RO, because that way the TL can still focus then on what they're doing from a TL perspective. The RO's then got a subsequent backup. Defiant have said TL should not have comms to 0. They are too busy.
Whatever.
But, ultimately, it worked really well from what I see. No, genuinely, apart from a few VP whoopsies, he could actually join the team in the TOC for a MilSim.
Oh, look at him.
James. Why, James? Why write that? Why?
I won't lie, right? So I was a little nervous about this anyway. I've never, I think we spoke about this last week, but I've never run a team of sort of 30, 40 people. Smaller teams, fine, like maybe 15 at the absolute max, but even then that's 2 sections or whatever. But or sort of 2 fire teams. But I've never run effectively command level,
sort of platoon
comms or anything like that, and coordination. And I was nervous about it. I won't lie. And then somebody in the NoFo chat, community chat, decides, so basically it's JBG versus NoFo. At which point I was like, now it's like I'm letting NoFo.
Now it's personal.
No, yeah.
Fuck.
Obviously, JBG were running the CO element for Spearhead. For those that don't know JBG, I don't know why you wouldn't at this point, but for those that don't, JBG are veteran-owned. They are predominantly all veterans, all current serving. They've obviously got a mixture in there. So, when you are in a position where you are effectively up against active or ex-serving, there is an element of like, well, I'm a civilian.
So what are you saying, Mike? You're better than them.
No, I'm not saying.
Yeah, you did. You did. No, I'm going to tell Charlie. Where's my phone? Charlie?
No, I'm not saying I'm better than them at all.
Charlie, Mike said, voice note.
What I'm saying, though, is I was so happy to have, for the team that I was involved with to win.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And rightly so.
Because it was, and James, I think James King and I, because James King was a CO, I was a 2IC, and between the two of us, we were both in the same position. We were messaging before, like, is there anything you think of that might help in this situation, etc., etc. And there you go, James, Mike, you're awesome all day. So are you, dude. Literally between the two of us, we were just working really well, and we were sort of trying to make sure that the guys on the ground weren't stagnating. Because this is the other thing as well. when you're running that kind of thing, you can't just go, because we could have just gone, oh, we've got a team of like 20 on one of the teams. We'll just put them in like a big line of defense across, and they could just stay there all day. And then we'll use the two smaller teams to kind of do all the taskings. But they're paying players. You can't do that. You've got to get them in and out. And
everyone's got to have a fair slice of the pie, haven't they?
Yeah. So that's what we're trying to do. It's a case of like, right, we had 3 objectives. There was a HVT to escort around. There was an enemy HVT that you could sort of provide points denial on by obviously securing or, basically restricting the enemy team from gaining their points. Mm-hmm. We had a building capture, and then there was a target set up in the enemy base that we had to, from a specific building, effectively snipe.
That's cool.
So it's sort of just coordinating all the different elements and that, and making sure you got the right. So in the first objective, we were like, right, the team with the sniper on, they've got to get to that building and just lay as many freaking rounds into that target as possible early doors.
I'm guessing Spearhead were in Sanford, were they?
They were, yeah. Yeah, so we were in the Afghan compound. But by hitting that target early doors, we were like, right, cool, we've secured a number of points there. Now we can focus on the other 2 objectives, and any additional hits that we can get on that target are going to be an advantage.
How did you find being in the Afghan compound? Because that's quite close logistically to the Sanford. Like, did you find you were sort of penned in at all? No,
so we, because of the numbers of players that were there, the AO was restricted. So the Spearhead team couldn't cross the railway, or if you imagine like an imaginary line that just runs the whole length of that railway. Yeah. So the woods, etc., north and south, they couldn't cross that north and south line, and then we couldn't cross to the bottom of Jan Smuts. Is it Jan Smuts? Yeah.
So you couldn't go across the open ground at the back of Sanford?
Yeah. No.
Oh, that's all right then.
So there was that kind of restriction. So that obviously made it a little bit more challenging. But it was all manageable, and I think it was just really, really good. I really enjoyed myself.
Cool. Did you manage to get out into the field at all? Or?
We did, yeah. So James and I kind of, because there's 2 of us there, we had the opportunity that we could kind of go, right, you take over comms for a little bit and sort of the run of the team. And then what we were using James and I for is almost just like a little backup squad. Like a one-man team. I mean, predominantly James, because James was always itching just to get out there. You could see it in his eye. He was like, oh, I want to go.
Army of one.
Yeah. But it might be like, for example, like a HVT. Say we couldn't get in touch with one of the teams for whatever reason. It just gave us like that extra little element that we could just send out to go and make that communication. And then we also had a little point at one point where we moved sort of the command element slightly further forward on the railway track so we could see a little bit more what was going on, because there was a little kind of confusion at one point as to where the teams were based.
Right.
And sort of trying to enhance the radios. And then towards the end of the day, we just moved the command point completely, just brought that into that first row of houses that looks on the railway. The one that runs parallel. So we just. I appreciate there's a lot of communication.
Oh, is that the one where
specifically of Longmore? So if you don't
where Ryan picked up David and took him to that window.
Yes.
Yeah.
So building 8 to 11 of Pretoria.
Yeah. Pretoria
so we moved the command point in there, because at that point the objectives were to hold the HVT in those buildings as well. So it meant that we could effectively combine those forces together. So we had like 1 or 2 players sort of diving in just for updates and intel and stuff. So we could do all of that, but at the same time, we've got the maximum amount of people in the buildings securing the perimeter effectively, and the various objectives that were further out. So, it just, in my mind, just worked really well.
Jolly good, sir.
Really chuffed.
Well done.
So, rightly so. We're proud of you, mate.
Yeah, I must say, and this is actually one of the first questions I wanted to pose this evening is, what do you guys think about the concept of having a command element that is structured so that you've got the team and the hierarchy coming up to the commander and the 2 IC for the team, but they are effectively players, not part of the game. So by this, we've all been to events where the team commander is effectively in direct contact with game organisers, and they might be fed intel, and it's like, oh yeah, right, you need to go here now, and they're kind of like strategizing for a bust up. Sorry, James was ribbing me all weekend because of the whole rating, how sim is your MilSim thing, and it was battle sim is the fourth.
Is he still harping on? Is he?
No, I think he's on board with it now. So
yeah, never admit that publicly. For him to admit that publicly, we'll have to get him on the gin. Leave that with me.
But yeah, I mean, the question really is, you've got this kind of hierarchy that comes up. So do you want to have a player running the commands that doesn't know the full ins and outs of the event, and they are working off of the information and the intel that they're receiving? Or would you rather have the game organisers effectively doing that and kind of using that as a methodology for steering? So, for example,
go on.
You could have it so that you're running the event and you get some intel come in. It doesn't have to be from your guys on the ground. Maybe the event organizer goes, right, I'm going to feed you some intel that you can act on or not.
Yeah, for set pieces or whatnot.
Yeah, there's like a drug cache or something here. And I would suggest that you go and investigate.
Or this has been spotted, movement's been spotted here.
Yeah. So how you then operate that is down to the person playing that command role, or the team, or however you've got that kind of talk set up. Or would you rather have the event organizer go, I need you to go and actively go and investigate a building in that zone?
I think it's a big risk because anyone, you could, for essentially what you're saying is like if you wanted to be a player commander, if you like, then essentially anyone who's booking onto that event on Tomahawk or Spearhead could then say, I'll be the commander for Tomahawk, or I'll be the commander for Spearhead. 2 hours into the event, they think, I don't like this, and then they sack it off. That's the risk you've got of just having some random player be. I mean, obviously, if it's a trusted player that the Defiant will use, which is obviously they've got their core players that keep returning to all their events, so they can trust them with some sort of intel that's going to lead onto a set piece. And yeah, that's fair enough because they're a trusted player and they've been to many of their events. They know where they play. La 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 la. But there's a big risk there to say anyone can sort of do it. On the side of caution, from an organiser's point of view, I'd sooner have someone say it was us running an event. I'd sooner have yourself or Andy as the OC for Tomahawk or Spearhead, because it's in our benefit for the event to run well. If someone wants to have a go at being a commander and then doesn't like it, quarter the way through the event and sacks it off, and no one else wants to do it, then you've lost your command structure. So I think there is a risk there. I think, yeah, you could have a player doing it, and they're sort of fresh for the realism. They're like right, fresh on the ground. I've got to gather intelligence to sort of to plan my taskings, for my battle plan, this, that, and the other. Where I'm going to put my teams out, this, that, and the other, all that sort of stuff going on. But they'd have to be. I think they'd have to be a trusted player. It couldn't just be sort of any random.
No, you couldn't have Bob off the street come in and just go, right, I'm going to be the commander this weekend.
Yeah,
not Andy Bob. Not Andy Bob, just a Bob.
No, but I mean, you could do it in another way as well. If you put it out there to players and say, look, we'll give you 3-4 hour, we'll give you a 3 or 4 hour slot, so you can experience it, but still under the watchful eye of someone that knows what's meant to be doing. I think it would probably be quite enjoyable to do what you did for a weekend.
Like Cool Sign Samurai just said there, like having a player, a trusted player as the OC, but then having someone who wants to volunteer as a 2IC to sort of get their head around it and sort of experience it, then yeah, that's maybe an option sort of thing.
Yeah, I definitely think it's worth giving players, because also as well, if players are interested in that sort of thing, it gives them an insight into what the organisers have to go through, like when they're doing it. So you could actually make the gameplay better because they can turn around and say, "Look, I've done what they're doing. Let's stop fucking about."
Yeah, well, I think Cool Sign Samurai and Paul as well are singing from the same hymn sheet, really, regarding having someone doing it but being mentored by a DS or by a trusted player who's done it a lot of times before. Until I see for the event team, yeah, absolutely.
Cool Sign Samurai, a player, and then a 2IC from the event team.
Yeah,
as well, it's difficult getting the right person to be commander. As a good one could effectively make or break the experience. Maybe a mentoring approach for people who want to try it. I mean, the thing that I think would be quite cool is if you've got, this is the thing, it depends on the scale of the event, but I'd love to having done this weekend, I'd love to be in a position where you're kind of involved with a command center, which is, you've obviously got the people kind of making the strategic decisions, and then you've got people that are effectively just on the radios. So they're feeding intel backwards and forwards and coordinating, and then that information is then getting onto the map, and then you're just like, right, we've just got to prioritize what we're doing, what's happening. And then you could also have, I was thinking, like, you could have like someone there that's just like CIA, like, I've got some intel here for you. This is from a covert asset or something like that just sort of builds into the event.
But it's like what Pegasus has said. Both me and him were at RIFSIM, and we were basically task force, and there was a player that really wanted to be like Zero for the weekend, so like Tony let him, and it was an absolute clusterfuck. It was the HQ was put on top of a hill in the middle of an open area, which means that you could get sniped. so basically you go, where's their command? Oh, it's there, right on the top of that hill.
Right there, with all them antennas and that all sticking up.
Yeah.
There they are.
Where literally, if he'd just gone a little bit further, he was down in a defilade. And
I'll tell you what, sorry, just while you said defilade, I was watching Private Ryan, Saving Private Ryan last night, and I swear in the first hour of that movie they must say the word defilade like 30 or 40 times.
Defilade, other side of the hole.
You saying it the whole time. Like, yeah, guys, get onto there. There's a defilade just the other side of the like the, where they're stored with the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Get in that defilade. You'll have perfect eyes on the machine gun nest. Once you hear it, you can't not hear it. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I completely agree. I think we take out completely the idea of just having a generic player doing it. Defiant have said problem is as an event organizer, his reputation rides on it. We generally only use trusted people, but we do invite others into the HQ team if they want to and can bring value. So I think that's a moot point at this point. I think you have to have someone trusted in that role. But I think just whether there's the advantage to the game itself in terms of like the player doing it or someone that knows the whole event doing it. See what I mean? Because I feel personally that when you've got a player doing it, the intel they're receiving and that you are then digesting and feeding back and making decisions based on that is more realistic, and it's more attuned to, if the guys out on the ground are giving you good intel, then you're going to be able to give better informed decisions because you're effectively just a computer, bad in, bad out. When it's an event organizer doing it, there's always that thing in my mind. Whenever we've done, various events, Lance, that you and I have done together where we've both been given orders and we're like, we're going to get ambushed there. We know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, that sounds like a shit thing to do.
Go to this location along this route. Right, okay. And it's, you don't quite get that kind of spontaneous, right, no, I've got intel, there's an enemy team coming, right, quick, flash ambush, we're going to get this sorted out. Nail the enemy team and then, sneak round and utilise that gameplay. And I feel it's an advantage. And I think it makes the game more interesting to me.
Yeah, 100%. I agree, mate.
Yeah. So we'll just clear some of the comments quick on that one. So Paulus Wales, that's why I addressed your parcel to Brigadier the other week. Yeah. We Paulus, a big shout out to Paulus because we're putting together our perk packs for the members on the Buy Me a Coffee. We've talked about this a while ago, and I apologise for the delay. Basically, we came up with a really fancy design that just doesn't work when put on T-shirts or stickers or anything like that.
Or anything. It looks
anything.
Really cool.
So it looks mint, but
yeah, it looks great on a computer. As soon as
you can have it as a screensaver for your phone.
Yeah, it just goes. Fuck you, ain't working.
We'll release it. We'll release it as a download, and people can do what they like with it. But we've kind of had a bit of a steep learning curve on what works and what doesn't work. But we are now getting the perk packs done, and Paulus Wales, with his epic 3D printing skills, has printed us something to go in the perk packs. He has done it effectively free of charge, and I just want to go a big massive shout out to Paul. So thank you, mate. I really appreciate it.
Hand jobs at for Paul.
I didn't offer those.
No,
Defiant says we implement LOE, also closed up windows on certain buildings. That meant that there was easier routes into the urban area. Yes, this was another thing they did. That odd buildings, all the windows were shut and locked. So you effectively had, firstly, dark buildings, which made it more interesting to storm through. But it also gives you extra routes in that are then effectively impervious to outside attack, except for like the front door. Or the little crawl spaces that you can use to get between buildings. So it's almost like a little tunnel into the building, if that makes sense, as far as secondary exit or entrance. So that was quite cool. If the RO is out, just take his radio and give it to someone else in the squad, which is easier said than done, I think, in some instances. Danny says Mike's obviously learnt off old school TL Lance. Real bad man. Well done, Mike. I mean, I won't lie, Lance. I have learned an awful lot, and this isn't fucking bum smoke and all that. Like, I'm not going to start blowing it up your ass. Yeah, but I've learned an awful lot from you, from the number of times that you have done TL.
Welcome.
So yeah, I've seen how you do it, and I'll do it differently.
Yeah, whatever you've done, I do not listen to.
I do not listen to. What did you say?
No, I joke. I'm just teasing. Ross said, big shout out to Mike for smashing Tomahawk on Sunday. Again, it wasn't just me, it was obviously James as well. The two of us, absolutely cracking team. And I'd love to do it again with James. We had a right laugh. Pegasus, we did tell him to put it back to the covered area, but didn't listen as well.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, he was a nightmare. Like literally, me and.
Oh right, your event, Rift.
Rift. Literally, we turned around to him and said, "You sure you want to put it in?" He was like, "Yeah, but like everyone will be able to see it." Right? To say that again, and now think what you're saying. So yeah, we had the big old Efrel CRV unit up there, parked up the top, big net over it, and then you were like, not really working, is it?
I subsequent to having done the Rift battle sim, I've been looking at battle boards and stuff like that. It's like a mobile, because I was basically with a whiteboard and magnets and just kind of moving them around. I was like, oh, it'd be handy if it was like a bit more portable. And I found a really good battle board called the Fist, which I thought you two would enjoy. Firstly, based on its name,
yes,
but it's $450. It's like
ridiculous.
I cannot justify the cost of that.
Yeah, you can.
Sorry.
I mean, if you really wanted it, we can justify everything.
True. But
I don't know why I have to do that, but I did it.
Send me a link to the Fist.
I'll send you a link to the Fist. I was gonna send a bit of a mock up to Mission Tailors and say, like, right, can you make this cheaper?
Yeah.
Not the exact same, because we're obviously not into IP fraud or any copyright issues or anything like that. But
we'll just make it slightly different. We'll add it. We'll put the zip going the other way.
Yeah. Hazel says, hi guys and fellow speed awareness course buddy.
Oh, who's that? Is that you?
Yeah.
Oh, Andy, I'm going to have to put that on the insurance.
No, you don't, because it's speed awareness. Cheers, Hazel.
Oh, Hazel.
You don't have to put it on the insurance.
I think you do nowadays with the...
No,
and it went up the bum. Samurai, what are you talking about? It's talking to me. I don't know if it's directed at me or not, but there was one earlier. It said, blow the smoke to your left and up. And now it just says, and it went up the bum. I don't understand.
Another little shout out I just wanted to give. A very helpful listener of the show has sent me an eBay link to...
Rubbish. I don't believe it.
Oh, what, there was a helpful listener of the show?
Well, now we've got like literally 4 people just left from watching us.
No. They've sent me, because obviously I've got a massive...
Yeah. Oh, they found us out.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I've got a massive interest in Osprey vests and stuff like that.
Have you really?
I do. But he managed to find that they've done a blue Commander's Osprey pouch, like a panel. that I've never seen before. So straight on eBay, that's on its way now.
You've got a problem.
Yeah, but now I've got
you mean like the press
problem. That's even worse.
Is that the press armor sort of thing?
Yeah, so it's the blue. Yeah. It's the blue civilian armor.
Yeah.
And they do medic pouches and ammo pouches, which I went through a phase of buying quite a lot of those because I thought, oh, these are really rare. You can't get them on eBay. And then all of a sudden, more popped up. So I was like, excellent. But this is something I've never seen before, which is like a proper, like the admin panel that you can get.
Zip down.
But in blue.
Ooh. In blue.
Very exciting.
Your Black Osprey.
I've got the Black Osprey. And I have all the colours. I have black. There are no pouches for that I have found yet. But if people find them and they send me the link, they'll more than likely get someone to buy it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've got black, woodland DPM, desert DPM, high vis, blue, tan.
Is there an OD
MTP.
green?
I don't know if there is an OD green, but I will now look after the show.
There has to be an OD green one.
I've never seen one.
If they do a fucking high-vis one and a blue one, there's got to be a plain green one, surely to Christ.
I'll have a double check. But right, here's a question for you then, because this was something that was mulling through my mind during the week. Do you think it would be handy or counterintuitive to, the Stacey Dooley? So she runs a program in the UK where they basically get everything out of your house and put it in a warehouse.
Oh yeah, right? Yeah. Charlotte.
Oh, and they sort through all your shit for you.
And they sort through it, and then basically you go, I own 50 bottles of ketchup. Why have I got all of this? And then just keep one, and then you take that away, and then the rest of them go in the bin or recycling or to a charity shop, etc. Do you think that you would find that helpful for airsoft in that you could firstly see everything that you own from an airsoft perspective? Or do you think it would be counterintuitive because it would then show you everything that you own, and it would also allow other people to see everything?
I would love someone to do that for me.
I would hate it because I'd be like, I'm missing this. It would work.
I would genuinely love that, to be able to do that. That would be very fulfilling.
I mean,
I'd enjoy that.
Close your drive off.
Very much.
We can.
I wouldn't do it outside. You're not going to do it outside.
I'd want like a tactical warehouse sort of thing.
A tactical warehouse
with shutters and cages and things inside.
But I was thinking that though. I think it would be really helpful to just properly get everything out and then sort it all out all in one go. I'm not suggesting getting rid of anything, but it would allow you to actually.
I would get rid of so much.
Oh no, I wouldn't.
I genuinely would get rid of so much. I just haven't got the patience or the fucking time to lay everything out, or the space for that matter.
Yeah,
I'd be in Andy's camp and just be like, "Oh look, I haven't got an OD green version of this."
Yes. You'll be buying more things with your phone out whilst sorting through your things.
Yeah, she's throwing stuff away and you're buying stuff. You're like, okay, yeah.
What's this listing of 9-volt airsoft surplus?
Yeah,
just buy that back.
I mean, probably between the three of us, we probably could set up like an army surplus shop.
I reckon so. Absolutely, 100%. A really well stocked shop.
Yeah.
Like a fucking really well stocked shop.
I don't want to do this. I like the things I own.
Yeah. Even though I have 12 of each.
Yeah. Defiant says I didn't realise Osprey was like Pokemon. Oh man, it's so good. So good.
He loves an Osprey. Loves an Osprey. I'm sure I've got some Osprey stuff in the loft. You can have it, Mike. I will make a conscious effort to sort through my Osprey stuff.
Yeah.
I think I've got some Osprey elastic pouches. The ones that have the pull cord at the top. I think I've got about 15 of those. I think I'm sitting on them. I think they're underneath the sofa.
Ooh, there you go.
If anybody doesn't want any
by
Osprey
the anus of Andy for you.
By all means, donate to the Osprey addict.
The Osprey fund.
Hello, my name's Mike, and I am addicted to Osprey.
I'm so excited! I popped my earphone out.
Usually something else pops out, but no, it's your earpiece.
Yeah,
just the earpiece. That's fine. Yeah,
just the earpiece. No, I mean there was a phase at one point, and we still have the script written where we were writing a film, and I got to the point of where I was like,
my ear swells when I get excited.
Yeah.
That's so. I may not have shot you that Octo
No, I
event.
just got excited to see
You could have just got excited and your ear swelled.
Yeah,
that's what pops your earpiece out.
Oh, I've been shot by Lance. Ooh, no.
Defiant events. In all fairness, I'm simping over some Herrick SFSG kit. I need a DTPM helivest. It's the thing, us geardos, we all need to group together and just like revel in our fascination with gear.
Pegasus has asked a good question.
I haven't found any pouches for the high-vis one yet. It's also a bit small, so I can't wear it well. I can wear it, but I can't breathe.
Yeah, it's like a girdle.
Yeah, but I wasn't going to pass up on it, so.
Absolutely.
No.
Yeah.
What was that?
My mate across the road turned up his bike.
Oh, right. I thought it was your ass for a sec.
No.
Moving on from Lance's ass. Lance, you had some purchases that you wanted to talk about as a little bit
Yes,
of a...
I've purchased... One of them I can't show, obviously, although it is a training thing. I won't show that. But I got a rubber...
You can show them, can't you?
No, I don't know.
It's a knifey type thing. What I'll do is
I'll say that. It's a rubber... Rubber rhymes with wife.
I'm going to put it there, and it's in the background.
There you go, that's fine.
Just say to YouTube it's a dildo.
But I did get some things for the old CQBing, so I purchased them.
Yes.
So I'm interested. I've never tried these before, so I'm excited to try them. So a bit quick change. So I've got a couple of sets of them, and I've always wanted one of these, and it was on AliExpress for like $2.99. Oh, and so I bought one for my helmet, and it flashes. So yeah, some little purchases whilst traversing the AliExpress universe.
Just a quick question, Ross. Dildo or the other knife? Because he went, it's a stabby implement. Literally,
yes, it is.
I said dildo, so
can do many things.
Yeah.
I had a chat with someone,
and it will go on our NoFo bayonet thing.
Yes, the universal bayonet mount. Right, but we can't call it that. We need a new name for the universal bayonet mount because someone else has already made one and got it advertised and marketed.
Ultra universe, galactical.
Galactic bayonet mount.
Galactic bayonet mount. Yes. The GBM.
Really local. It's a really local bayonet mount.
GBM, mate.
GBM sounds cool.
Galactic.
Yeah. What have you got? I've got
bayonet mount. It's a GBM, mate. Fucking hell, where
GBM
you been?
Mark 1. No, I was talking to someone at the weekend about the podcast, funnily enough, and they said, do you know what? It's very much a flip of a coin, your show, in that sometimes you're super serious and then sometimes you do your Q&As and it's just waffle.
Yeah, we need to vent. This is us venting.
No,
I think I've worked it out. Hang on.
We can only be professional for so long.
Hang on.
Oh, it's his flashlight.
That's what he wanted me to do.
Hi,
there
Rob.
you go, Samurai.
Welcome to the show. Hi, Rob says, hi guys, love the show, as Lance starts vaping into his... No,
look, it's just fired it. Look. Oh, it's hot. Oh. What?
Right,
this is genuine,
okay, cool.
by the way. This is a genuine thing.
Where was it from?
Canon.
You asked for that.
It's 105 millimeters. I think it was shot in the ranges in Estonia. It's very nice.
Lovely.
I love it. I just got to find a pouch for it to go in on my fucking warrior. Just for the realism.
What the warrior that
it's some people tend to carry a mag with some inert rounds in there. I'm going to carry this.
Yeah.
I don't think they generally carry inert artillery
Spare
casings with them.
Here I come, lads. Has anyone got something this can fit into?
What you want to do is put a handle on the side of that and just turn it into a massive mug.
I was thinking about that, or a holder for my Stanley flask.
Yeah.
I know you can get the shells into a flask, but yeah, a mug, a rum mug.
Yeah. Right. Here's a question: when we airsoft, how do we handle egos? Whether it's the overconfident squad leader, the lone wolf, or keyboard warriors, or how do you guys handle someone who's a little bit egotistical? And
I usually try and tend to kill them with kindness. kill them with kindness, and completely agree with everything they're saying to the point where it becomes boring. And they usually just fucking realise that you're taking the absolute piss out of them without taking the piss out of them. And then they tend to go away into the shadows and never come back and see you again. Kill them with kindness, people. That's the best thing to do. Someone's been an arsehole, just kill them with kindness.
I just tend to ignore them.
Mm.
I just walk off.
Or
if your conversation bores me, I'm gone.
Or other end of the spectrum, you could do what the monkeys tend to do at safari parks: is shit in your own hand and throw it at them. I'd love to do that.
Let's ignore the fecal end of the spectrum.
Imagine it when they're taking. Imagine if you was in a sanger in the mob at Longmoor and you knew it was them that's taken over, and you're just at the top of the stairs as they're walking up, just as soon as their head pops up.
Yeah.
He's been hit, and he's not telling you. He's not calling his hit. He's not calling his hit. Look.
Yeah. I've got to admit, as a marshal, you tend to get quite thick-skinned quite quickly. So you kind of just, like Lance said, just agree with them until they go away. Yes,
because it is chat. I mean, obviously, there's different facets to this. You've obviously got, as you say, from a marshal perspective, you've got as a player where you've got a TL above you. You could have a whole other team. We've all seen teams that rock up at events. I'm
just reading Paul as well.
I know.
That's a lot of money, Paul, for just to get someone arrested. You could just phone them up and lie.
All suggested, never kill them with kindness. Plant a kilo of coke in their car and ring the Rozzers.
That's such a bad thing to do. Yeah. I'd say that I saw him. No, what I'd do is I'd go one better than Paulus. Out ego the fucker. Well, I'd go one better than Paulus, and I'd say when I went to the bathroom, I actually saw them hiding some inside themselves, so they get full cavity searched as well, just to really break that ego. Come out like a broken man.
Oh God, bringing it back round to slightly more practical solutions. The point is, obviously, you've got whole teams that can be quite challenging to deal with at certain MilSims. It doesn't have to be a.
I've not encountered one for a long time, I must admit.
No.
I mean, I know I've not been to an event for a good while, but
Facebook, hasn't
it? I've not encountered one for a long time at events now. Now, whether that's because people have realised that there are some tits in the world and they've sort of outed them and they're no longer attending these events. And I can't even mention any names because I don't really know anyone who's like that anymore. And I'm going for the last sort of 3-4 years now. Genuinely, I've not come across someone who's thinks they're better than anyone else or looks down or talks down on someone's kit. I've not encountered that. I used to back in the day, but
it used to be,
which is great.
Right.
It's good to be able to say no. I can't remember the last time I encountered that, which is really refreshing. It's a good thing. Well done, community.
Yeah. Do you feel that because there used to be obviously an issue with elitism in MilSim and that? Do you feel sometimes that we've become the elites? Not right. I don't mean in terms of I'm an elite. I'm so amazing. That's not what I'm suggesting. I mean in terms of people now look at us and go, "Oh, they're a bit elitist." Do you ever kind of?
I fucking hope not. I really hope not. And I hope by doing this show on especially Q&A night, they realise that that's not the case in the slightest. Yes. I hope you feel terrible about painting us with that brush now. Shame on you.
We're here to help, aren't we? Really,
we are here to help.
I genuinely, if someone thought that, we were being elitist, I will hold my hand up. I am personally a bit of a kit snob.
Yeah, but that's different. Anyone could be a tackle tart. That's fine. You can be a tackle tart. That doesn't make you elitist at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect someone that's just getting into it to come along and they've spent 600, 700 quid on all Agilite gear, and they're wearing Cry trousers and things like that. Do you know what I mean? For me, that's what I feel comfortable in wearing. But I understand that some people aren't in that position to spend that sort of money. So, I mean, for me, if you turn up to an event and you give it your all, I couldn't give a shit what you're wearing, as long as you're trying, as long as you're enjoying the event, and not sitting back and moping. The one that gets me is people that turn up to an event and then go, "Oh, I'm bored." But you've sat in camp on every time we've gone out for a patrol, right? Like, if you're not going to put 100% effort in, then that's down to you. But kit-wise and things like that, no. I hope not.
James says you can't be elitist if you wear Agilite, don't worry.
I love you, Andy, and I love your Agilite stuff you wear. I think you look sexy in it.
It's all right.
Andy bought me some Agilite stuff, and I love it. I won't lie.
Oh, and I stumbled across that picture I got of you. You know our little tete-a-tete over the private site with Terry Little and his gang? And I got a few shots. I think you'd only just got a new Bergen, Andy, but you had your Agilite stuff on, and I got a few shots of you patrolling up the track.
Oh, yeah.
They flashed up on my phone the other day. A little tear in my eye and a little look.
A picture of my bum.
Yeah, baby. Wiggle. Yeah, that's cool.
Right, how can Airsoft and MilSim improve? By the way, if anybody wants to throw questions in, we've got a few that we've kind of scraped together. You've got some as well, Andy, that you got sent.
Yeah, I had some.
Well, we'll go with yours next. But if anyone wants to throw a question in, then please feel free to do so. You can put it in the chat. Just put a little Q at the beginning, just helps us see it.
Let me find it first. Carry on with your question.
Well, shall I go into another one quickly first then? So this one kind of ties in with a future guest that we're going to have on. But how can Airsoft and MilSim improve inclusivity without compromising immersion or realism? So there's obviously I'm going to say growing, because I think there are more players in this situation than there used to be. And that's possibly due to a mix of technology and the like. But it does seem to be that the Broken Parts Squad, for example, and sort of players with limited mobility and stuff like that, who, ultimately the term limited mobility seems to completely be defied by them, because they are all over Airsoft just as much as any other player. So I think there's obviously a change to that. But do you think that ruins immersion or anything like that? Or do you think it actually adds to the whole concept of the game?
I wouldn't say it ruined the immersion of it at all. I mean, at the end of the day, everyone's got the right to take part in an event. Now, how able-bodied they are to do it, and like obviously this new team on the scene are going above and beyond to make sure that they can get anywhere and do anything in their rigs, which are fucking awesome, by the way, when you see one close up in the flesh that's dripping with weapons. It's very exciting. Imagine coming around the corner and getting into one of them. Oh, fuck. Gone. Fucking hell. Talk about shoot and scoot. It'd be like that bit in Saving Private Ryan where they draw the tanks into the ambush on that half-track thing, motorbike.
Yeah.
There you go. They were using them in 1944, for fuck's sake. That's not new stuff. It's always been about. Get involved. Just get a 50 cal on it and fucking go at them. I don't think it ruined a mission. I mean, obviously, there's going to be areas that are going to be a challenge. Obviously, like using like the houses in Longmoor, obviously getting into them, they're not designed for that. The doorways aren't wide enough. There's stairs. The ground's a bit shit. Some woodland areas might be difficult. But I mean, I'm sure organisers and that would be willing to sort of find a role within the event that would suit this individual without making them feel like they've put a special thing on just so they could take part. I'm 100% sure that there would be places and parts in that event that would give them a good crack at the whip to get involved. And I think, rightly so. Absolutely. Especially with my team. Especially an urban event when you've got roads, pathways, things like that. You can just fucking creep around. You know what I mean? Awesome.
Andy?
Lance pretty much covered it, I think. It was literally like
EOD. It'd be like a proper EOD thing. Like, go in. Fucking put some sort of mechanical arm onto the side of the old electric chair thing and just fucking, boom. That's him. Fucking hell, cool's that? You can bring your suit along, Mike, with a big helmet and all the armour and all that for him, the proper EOD suit. There you go. That would look mint.
I mean, it's almost down the route of like, can you imagine like a QRF element whereby you've got the rigs obviously sort of flying around with like I'm trying to think of the one they had at Longmoor, like the Hilux. So you've got like the flatbed that obviously you can use as like a multi-use platform for obviously moving supplies. You can move players. You can bring intel back or objectives or whatever. And then you've almost got like this. It would be almost the equivalent of just players on motorbikes, wouldn't it? Really, it would be no different concept.
What do these players refer to their sort of? I like the way you call it a rig, like their chairs. Sort of
you could call it a rig first. I just bounced off.
I like the sound of rigs.
I like the sound of rig.
Rig. Yeah, this is my rig. Fucking yes, it is. Of course, it is. Brilliant. Yeah. But that's a wicked idea. You know what I mean? It's low profile, small little trailer on the back, maybe. Load it up with some ammo, mortars. I mean, a mobile mortar platform. Fuck. Imagine that. 2-seater, 38mm mortar off the back. Shooting skill. Oh, mate. Yeah, we've got ideas for days. Can't wait to get them on the show and build something amazing.
Right, come on, Andy. You had a question.
Yes. So the first one was from a Simon
and Garfunkel.
I'm not going to try and pronounce his surname.
Just say Simon. That's fine.
Yeah, Simon. I'm looking to get into MilSim. Or I'll start from the beginning. I've watched a couple of your shows and met you at Blackstone. It was a really good time to see you. I'm struggling to find some of the episodes that you say about getting into MilSim that you mentioned. What would be your main event for getting into MilSim within the southeast region of the UK?
So we ran an intro to MilSim, and that would have been a good event to talk about. But obviously, we having put loads of time and effort into the NME event, which was going to be like our next intro to MilSim style, and then it kind of fell flat on its arse a little bit. We've kind of erred away from that for the moment.
Unfortunately,
we've always suggested Octo, haven't we?
It depends what sort of event you want to attend for your first one. Do you know what I mean? Do you want a realism event? Do you want it a very role play style event? Do you want it like to be force on force? So you've got to sort of decide what you want to go. If you've never done one before, then maybe that's perfect then, because you can just sort of like, okay, I'm going to try this event. Role playing is not really for me, or the heavy role play is not really for me. Okay, I'm going to try this one now, force on force. But yeah, an Octo is always a good one because you get the day of taking part in the event, and you get the break in the evening. You haven't really got to worry about your camping arrangements being all tactical and this, that, and the other. You could bring a civvy tent and civvy set up because you're setting up in a camping zone and going out of the game zone into this safe area to camp and cook and stuff like that. So that's always good. Or if you're new to the whole military style of setting up a basher and that, you can bring that along, and you've got plenty of space to try and set one up and talk to guys there that'll be able to help you. If we're at an event and you'll come along to it, we'll be there. We'll sit there and happily go through all the bits and bobs of you for a more tactical setup for your sleeping arrangements and cook sets and stuff like that. Yeah, love talking all that sort of stuff about kit. But yeah, I'd say an Octo event. It's a pretty solid, or a defined battle sim, a 1 day battle sim.
I was just about to say the 1 day battle sims.
You know, again, you essentially only use your skirmish kit and maybe a slightly larger pack for some additional food, water, and ammo. There's not a great deal that you'd need more from a skirmish day than you would to do a battle sim as such. So,
yeah,
I'm gonna throw it to our. We've obviously talked about the how sim is your MilSim questionnaire thing that we've obviously produced, which
that wasn't out when he sent me this message.
No, I get that.
There you go.
So we've got that as well.
Yeah. So what I was going to say though is there is obviously a questionnaire that you could fill out on our website that would give you in 4 different sections. So it breaks it down into. Let me just find it quickly. I'll bring it up. But it breaks it down into 4 different sections in terms of like shelter, your gameplay mechanics, and stuff like that. Which if you were to fill out the level that you feel you would be comfortable with. Now, let's assume that this person is skirmishing. If they've been to Blackstone, etc., then, presumably they are not new to airsoft. But you could fill that out and get a score in like an index score in each category. And then that might help you kind of define what type of event you want to do. So if you're hitting there like, yeah, mate, 100% on the whole thing, I've got 100% index. I'm just ready to basically drop into Afghanistan as special forces at this point. You're like, okay, fine. Well, in which case, any event in the UK would probably be a good one for you because you could pretty much do anything. But then if you're kind of sitting around, I don't know, 30% or something like that, James at the beginning, I know we're joking about it with a couple of organisers, but we mocked up the battle sim as an idea as to what score that would be, and that hit 43 as an event. And it might help you to just go, oh right, I'm at a 43. I'm sort of that's the kind of event that I'm looking for. So that might be an advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why how MilSim is your MilSim. It will help you because you can go through each category, choose. All right, well, I'm looking for an event that's to the safe zones, sleeping area. It's not going to get hit like that, so you can select that, select the next bit, and you can choose the easier options, and it'll give you your percentage, and then you can sort of look to them events now. Right, okay, when you do read the format of the event on whatever website you've gone to Gunman, Octo, Defiant, whatever it is, then you can sort of grasp from the intel that you're getting given for the briefing of the event that's coming up. It will tell you. You can sort of then digest it and go, right, okay, that's sort of along the lines of what I'm looking for from my MilSim survey I've done on the NoFo website. I'm going to go that one.
However, can I just say this, and this is really important because I've already been warned this. James at Defiant specifically does not want to be asked whether the combat style of their event will be tactical engagements with multiple teams executing synchronized maneuvers, responding dynamically to battlefield developments with structured commands. If you say that to him, he might slap you, and he will definitely slap me.
Definitely going to have it printed on a t-shirt, though.
Yeah, that's it.
Do not
get that done. Stickers.
Do not ask that sort of question, but you could ask like what were previous events like, and it just gives you a steer as to kind of how that event will go. Some players might even be willing to fill this out for you based on their experiences. If the three of us have ever been to an event, ask us, we'll do it quite happily. It takes literally 30 seconds or a minute to fill out, and it gives you a rough idea of the scoring of that. So, yeah.
I hope that helps, Simon.
Yeah, that helps.
Defiant says, right, hang on, we'll go back to the start. So, Defiant says, interest in MilSim should come back. So, it would be something we would like to do. We're saying we're not an events company, but,
it was really frustrating, wasn't it? Because the first one was so bloody good and well received, and we thought, right, okay. But I think it was more the date and the date of when we planned to do it. I think that's what.
Yeah, whatever the reason was, it just didn't land, and it was, I think it did put us off doing them for a little while. It might be something come back. Maybe it's a case of
next year.
Yeah, it might be a case if we just do something collaboratively with some other companies.
Still here.
Okay. MDB Engineering, a Defiant roleplay event is good for your first. But Defiant disagrees. I think the roleplay events are a bit of a shock to people who come directly from the all-action skirmish setting. So I think it's important to just find a balance as to what you would want to do. So I personally would always recommend an Octo for like a good starter to MilSim, because you're not having to keep yourself alive overnight.
But also Octo is super roleplay.
It is, but not.
But you can choose to do that.
Not necessarily the JTF stuff.
Yeah, no.
If you're on the NATO side of things, I think that's quite a good introduction to, because everyone's seen war films and stuff like that and got a loose idea of how,
Yeah, but I mean, they are heavily role-played events.
To be a soldier.
But they've got their core element of players that turn up and love getting involved with the role playing. So if you want essentially go there and join Tim's sort of PMC side and just sort of stay there and just be a gun rather than having to get involved with the role play, then you can absolutely do that. Don't feel obliged that I've got to jump in now and get my Amdram acting skills out, because that's really not the case. You can do, although but for your first event, you might just want to sort of take it all in and sort of see what's going on and see how it plays out. And
but then you've got,
I really enjoy that.
The other one that I forgot to mention is Rift Airsoft. They do Rift Sim, and that's very relaxed. That's like your camping areas can be modern kit. It doesn't have to be packed down a load. And there's not really a lot of there's not an overall role playing side of it. So that's quite relaxed, but you're out in the field all week or like all weekend. So that could be quite a good one if you're not looking for the role playing side of things.
Yeah.
And I think there's
even just a battle sim, like if you want to get into that action-y side of thing with a little bit more tasking and like organisation to it. A battle sim is quite a good one too.
Yeah.
Sorry, I only put in the Oxo just because. Say again, sorry.
Apocalypse is starting to do a few more battle sims.
Yeah, they're starting to come back. That's good news. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Apocalypse, Simon, if you're not aware, is in Sittingbourne, Kent, Detling Hill, just off the A249. Really good site. As long as you can walking up a relatively steep hill to get to the safe zone.
I'm going to bring up a question about the roleplay stuff in a little bit because I think that's a good question to run to. And your guest, for some reason, says ask Mike about his blanket, and I've got no idea what he's talking about. So
tell us about your blanket, Mike.
Tell us about the blanket.
I'm not quite sure what
I want to know about the blanket.
Story
Why are you hiding from us?
The blanket?
Yeah, comfort blanket.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whoopee blanket. You've got a lot of whoopee blankets.
I do have a lot of whoopee blankets. W11. What international MilSim events would be worth a visit?
It's got to be Border War to start with, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what about the one that Hades and JBG lads did? The 4 or 5 day. Not the event was 4 or 5 days. It was a couple of days, but they spent some time over there. That wasn't Border War. It was. I think it's the ones.
Burger.
Chaps. Burger. That's it. Yeah, that's very, very good.
Yeah, and we've got Nordic MilSim.
Nordic MilSim. Yeah,
good ones coming up next year. If you missed that episode, that was last week's. So have a little look at that. They've got some really interesting ideas.
Top lads, gutted I missed it.
I haven't shown you two this yet, but we've updated our website with our MilSim events. So previously we just had a whole load of MilSim events on there, but it is now broken down into categories. So we have, hang on, so I've just lost the tab. We have UK MilSim organisers, we have EU MilSim organisers, and we have US MilSim organisers. So, and we've got a big thing on there that says if you're not on this list, drop us a message and let us know, and we'll get you on there. So, we obviously tried to have a MilSim calendar a long time ago, which didn't work. It died on its arse. People, we were relying on the MilSim event organisers.
Yeah. Organisers are too busy.
Yeah, which is fine. I get it. It's when we weren't that wasn't a problem for us, but it was relying on the MilSim organisers to basically log it on our website. Which why would they do that? They've got their own websites. They're already advertising it. There's another number of other MilSim calendars out there. Some of them are up to date. Some of them aren't. But I think it's just such a big thing. So what we've sort of tried to do here is just give you a flavour of some really good event companies that we would recommend. Go for it, Andy.
Why are we on it?
So, we on it.
Like they're on our website.
I know. We're on it because we did do
one
Op Phoenix, and we obviously have done the intro to MilSim.
The first intro to MilSim.
First intro to, and while we are
mate.
While we are not event organisers per se, it was on there for that reason, basically. Because when we originally set this up, it was going to be a year-on-year intro to MilSim type thing. But we are planning.
Could well be scenario organisers, though.
Companies. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'll let you off then. I just thought it was a bit self-serving.
I can take it off of there.
Shut up, Andy.
I've put us at the end of the list, and you've got Defiant, Frontline Events, Octo 8, Sterling, Bad Wolf Tactical, EU MilSim organisers. We've got Nordic MilSim, Border War, and Burgett, and then US MilSim organisers, MilSim West, and American MilSim. But I appreciate fully that there are other companies out there, there are other countries out there that we haven't picked up in this, and I apologise.
Yeah, we need to hit Randy up for there's another US one, but I can't remember the name that he goes through for his.
I apologise to the EU classification as well, but I figured it was probably a little bit ridiculous to have all the countries listed on there for the moment. I'm going to have to group them in some way because otherwise we're just going to have 400 flags on the page, and it might just get a bit silly. So we will have stuff on there. Yes, all right. James, shut up. James says we're not event organisers and then lists itself under a MilSim event organiser. It's only because we have organised stuff, and I'll take it off of there if everyone's got a problem with it.
It's an airsoft event.
It's our website.
A MilSim is an airsoft event, so MilSim's an airsoft event.
Yeah.
So you're covered. We're covered. We're good.
Yeah.
Basically, there's a good little list there of sort of companies that you can get in touch with. We are hoping, and we obviously say this with the best of intentions that things can change, but we are hoping to having spoken to Nordic MilSim to potentially get out there for an international trip, November Foxtrot international trip in 2026. It's a big if at the moment. We obviously
know about this yet. We need to update.
No, he does. We mentioned it. We need to pull it all together, but potentially, and that would be just some interesting content. Just us getting to the event.
Absolutely, it would literally be like the Grand Tour. It would literally be that. It would be.
Yeah. we could even rent some ridiculous vehicle and drive there if we really wanted to.
Brilliant.
Rent a Chinook.
We could rent the Chinook.
Yeah, we could do that. We could absolutely do that.
Right, Daniel Guest asked Mike about his blanket, and then he's followed up why he thought it was a good idea to go on the top bunk. Can I just say that the jungle blanket by Snug Pack is a really good blanket, but the lining material that they have on there is quite slippery, right? So what happened? I got on the top bunk at Longmoor thinking,
God.
This would be nice because I can't, I don't get that claustrophobia. It's lovely. And then I woke up at 3 a.m, a little bit shivery because my blanket had basically slid off down onto the ground. And so at 3 a.m, I'm trying to sort of precariously hang out of the bunk with my arm.
Who was under you?
No one was under me. It was fine, but I was just trying to fish this blanket out. So if you do get a blanket, what I've debated doing is basically having some sort of like bungee system, sort of strap it around.
I'll tell you what, as it's a jungle blanket, have you got the one with the zip?
No, this is just the probably basic jungle blanket.
And you just zip it around you like a normal sleeping bag.
Yeah, that's the jungle sleeping bag.
Yeah.
It opens up square though. It's a square end. It's not a mummy one.
Oh no, my one zips all the way around.
This is fine. It's just basically, it wasn't particularly cold that night, and clearly I might have just thrown it off or whatever, and it just slid.
You like to show a bit of leg, didn't you? You like to show a bit of leg.
Yeah, it's a little bit of leg.
Cool Sign Samurai says, if you go to a Nordic MilSim or need help to get there, hit me up. So he's clearly just offered to drive us there and back, nice. Which is great.
Yeah, brilliant.
So take you up on that, matey. You are a top lad.
You need free tickets paid for as well, Samurai.
No, I just thought it'd be cool. I could see it as like a proper.
It'd be cool. It'd be awesome.
I think it'd be a cool thing to do. So absolutely. I do think it's something we should.
We've got all this snow gear and we never get to use it. So
yes, I've got my German snow sniper suit, Andy.
You've got a snow sniper suit, like?
Yeah, Andy bought us some, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. But I was just saying, we literally rock up in full like winter kit for attending a Swedish summer event.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, here they are. Classic. In classic.
Oh. Ross says, Mike, at least your door closed on the weekend as mine popped open and I was sleeping in the front door with my feet were frozen at 4 a.m. But it's MilSim, mate. It's MilSim.
Because MilSim, absolutely. Fail to prepare to fail. That's what I say.
Yeah.
I slept outside Longmoor's billets because of some fucker snoring, Ross, on my cot bed in my DOS bag. That was lovely and toasty, and it was below 0 that weekend, but I just couldn't take it any longer. It was either sleep outside or kill Mike. I chose sleep outside.
I'd like to point out that the two people that I was sharing a bunkhouse with at this last event, nobody said anything about my snoring. It was absolutely fine. So, I'm going to say.
Well, clearly.
Cool Sign Samurai, just fly to Denmark. I'll fit you lot in the boot. There we go.
Lovely.
It's a hell of a boot you've got.
That is a big old boot.
Respect.
Right. I don't know if we have many more questions. There was a couple that I had.
Burning.
I have one more.
Oh, go on then, Andy.
Waiting with bated breath now.
Yeah, the phone locked.
Phone locked. Code red. Lance stood over with the pillow, going to be so easy, and Mike was dying.
Oh, that's what I can say. Sorry, while you're looking it up, Andy, one of the billet buildings, one of the clearly a squaddy or whatever, while they're up there on training, had hidden a smoke alarm in the wall. So every once in a while, they're just sitting there. All of a sudden, you hear a beep.
Brilliant.
Beep. Where is that coming from?
That's not annoying.
From behind. It was coming from behind the. They got the fuse board in those rooms. So it's coming from behind that. We're like, fuse boards don't normally have battery backup.
Yeah, that's odd.
Oh, got it, Andy?
Yes, found it. Currently looking for a chess rig. What would you recommend?
Ooh. Well, I've got my my Warrior 901 Elite.
Warrior, yeah.
I love that one. Yeah.
I mean, it all depends on what you're looking for, really. Do you want one?
It's quite a bulky bit of kit, the 901. I think you can get smaller, low-profile ones, but sort of like a PMC close protection.
The Northern ones.
Northern. If you've never had one, you want to get one just for a couple of events, mate. You can't go wrong with the Northern Ireland chest rig, British Army issue, Woodland DPM. Fucking happy days.
I mean,
they are cracking. I actually used that at the. When did I use that last? Oh, when did I use that last? Where was I now?
I know you're a sniper, one of the sniper ops.
I used it recently.
Oh, that was the APOC.
Where were we?
APOC,
yeah, of course it was. Yeah, that's why I used it. Yeah, I love that bit of kit. Yeah, it's cracking. Yeah, definitely. Good shout, Mike. That's a good shout.
You've got that Helicon mini rig as well. Like, I know the pouches are fixed.
I have 5 chest rigs.
5?
It's ridiculous.
I've got 2.
I've got 3 of them are the same colour.
I've got 3 actually. I've got a Desert DPM one. Not Desert, just a plain tan one. I couldn't even tell you the brand of it. A Northern Ireland chest rig, and I've got the 901, which is cool.
I mean, there's so many. Like, it all depends on what your thing is. Like, you've got systems that take the front pouch off of your chest rig, which is what I use. So I have my set front panel, and I literally just take that off of my plate carrier and put it onto basically a harness. They're pretty good. They're about 80 quid. If you've got a removable panel on the front, you've got pre-built rigs like what Mike and Lance have got. The Helicon ones that are quite good. They're quite small and compact.
Yeah, I mean, one good thing with the 901 is you can turn it into a plate carrier.
Yeah,
because you got the bib that comes up, which will actually hold a plate, so you can effectively have one bit of kit which turns into a plate carrier. But obviously, you haven't got the back panel for it. So you compromise there.
Yeah. Is this, to clarify, is this a question from someone that knows definitively they want a chest rig, or that they want to try? No, I know, but the point is that are they wanting to like spend money on a decent, like brand new chest rig, or are they?
I would presume so. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, ultimately, you could look at I had to look this one up, Andy. I just thought I'd get it in there before you did. So Agilite obviously do the Reaper rig.
I know.
But
has he bought it?
I haven't bought it, but I am going to get one because Pegasus has got one, and now I tried it and it's sexy as fuck, boy.
You compare the price of that against the sort of the Warrior equivalent. You're looking at sort of about 100 quid ish. Whereas if you are going down the route of just wanting a chire chest rig, then it could just be a case of getting a cheap one, second-hand one. I mean, I managed to pick up a Warrior, exactly the same one you've got, Lance, brand new. Like someone had just put the pouches on. Slightly interesting way of using Molly, but they put the pouches on. I managed to get that for like 50 quid, which was an absolute steal because that had all the pouches, everything already on it, which, even if you decide, I don't really want to keep the chest rig, but I'm going to keep all the pouches on it and just sell the chest rig at sort of half the price of market value.
The Viper do a chest rig now. I think like their new version of the VX. That loads of people run that, loads, and it seems to be popular. So if that's sort of like your budget area, yeah, go for that. But definitely check eBay and the sales groups.
Yeah, for sure, and car boot sales as well, and the surplus sales.
Yeah,
always good.
I know Define, Us, JBG have all got WhatsApp sales groups. There's loads of the WhatsApp sales groups that you can get added to.
And check Facebook as well. There's always bargains on Facebook to be had. Yeah. Facebook Marketplace. There's always military kit on there for sale. Always.
Yeah, because some people don't know what they've got as well.
Exactly, not me.
No, I mean like they've cleared a house or something and they've found it and it's been left.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, you can literally pick up still. People just shifting kit. They don't know what it is.
They just go, oh, it's a green.
Oh yeah, I had that exact thing. Somebody was selling a Mark 6 British Army helmet on Facebook for £10, and I was like, I messaged him. I was like, because otherwise I'd have just gone and bought it. But I messaged him. I was like, look, you can't sell it for that. They are worth more than that. Do not sell it for £10 because it's just you can get more money. And they were like, oh yeah, but it's just part of like I was just clearing out my son's room or something. I can't remember exactly what they said they were doing, but they were doing some sort of house clearance type thing. They said, oh, I appreciate the message, but we're just trying to get rid of it. I was like, oh, wait.
Did you buy it?
I didn't buy it. No, I didn't buy it because it was inconvenient for me to go down there and get it. But it's just there are certain times that you can't sell it for that much. It's worth more than that. Like, people will buy that for £20-30. Yeah, well,
Vinted is a great shout, Mr. Aggravation. Vinted is a great shout for kit.
Mm.
I've got a pair off topic, not airsoft related, but I bought a pair of motorcycle trainers. So they look like Converse trainers, but they're armoured. Armour toe cap. They're like 120 quid RST ones, brand new normally. They've been worn once. I got them for £30. Like, I mean, look, this image. Hang on, I'll grab it. It's literally right there. How cool are they? Yeah, boy.
Nice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, another little tip as well. If you're doing a civvy event for airsoft and you're running jeans and that, bike jeans are banging. I wore my bike jeans, my blue bike jeans, to the Kill House 4-2. All knee pads, hip protection, arse protection, Kevlar lined. Mate, great pair of trousers if you're running a civvy, but you'll still want the protection there for your knees and that. Yeah, highly recommend that. Bike jeans.
What's the movement like in those?
Also, there's comfy. I've had my jeans on because I've been out on the bike a couple of times today, and literally I've had them on pretty much all day.
Nice.
Yeah.
And they're just comfortable to sit in, everything. Yeah, they're really, really good.
Like a Thunderbird.
No, they're not like leathers. They're proper flexible, really nice.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, highly recommend them.
Pro tip. I generally never thought about Vinted for military gear.
You can get loads of stuff on there, mate. Absolutely.
Just looking at the Helican trading mini rigs on Military First, so they've got
so many colours.
So many colours. There's like 3 different ODs.
Guys, I'm going to have to love and leave you. I've got to bug out, unfortunately.
No, that's cool.
I do have to leave. So I will say goodbye. Thank you for a lovely evening.
Bye, Lance.
Thank you to our guests.
He's got to go fill his shell casing up.
Yeah.
You know it. Get this.
Just sit there rubbing it.
Get this bad boy polished.
Well, be careful, the genie will come out.
A lot of polishings to do.
Be a ex-Estonian. Is it British Army or was it Estonian Army? Or
no, it's a British Army artillery shop.
So it'll be an ex-British Army genie will come out and just be like, whoa, do 5 press-ups for me for a wish.
What can I not give you?
Okay. Right, boys.
All right.
See you on the flip side.
See you later on, mate.
Take care.
Right, Andy, the last question that I had sort of lined up for the show was, what drives people, do you think, to keep returning to MilSim events despite physical discomfort, long hours, sometimes very limited action, a lack of sleep, eating meals from a pouch potentially cold, and then not being able to shit for 2 days once you got back? Why do people do it?
I've generally never had a problem with that. I, as I said, as we've said many a time, the after MilSim poo is probably one of the greatest experiences any individual can experience in their lives.
It does depend on how many biscuits brown you eat.
Yeah.
Fair.
Well, I don't like the biscuits brown unless it's the fruity ones.
The raisiny one. Yeah.
I'll demolish thousands.
Biscuits fruit is good.
Yeah. But it's a hard question because I generally don't know. Like, my main reply would be this lot that are listening to us and yourselves and the people that do it. It's the company. It's been able to get away from certain political views and stuff for a weekend and things, and get away from the news, not sit there watching TV, not sitting there watching podcasts. Like, just getting away from it all and forgetting about real life for 48 hours would probably be my main one.
I think, we often have this chat whenever we go MilSimming, that what constitutes the reason why you go, because obviously it's not just blapping people. If you just wanted to shoot BBs at people, then you just go to a skirmish day, right? So what is it about a MilSim that kind of gets you to that level of, I've paid more money, I'm here for a longer duration of time, I'm cold, and I think it does. I was going to say, I think it does boil down to what you said. I think the people make it. I think if you go with a good group of guys, then you have that camaraderie. You get to play silly buggers for a while, especially if you've got like a LARP heavy event where, you've got some DA interactions, or, whatever event you've got, you're patrolling a market and there's like proper stuff going on in there, and you can kind of enjoy dress up. Because I know there was the event the other day that we went to where a lot of the guys were like, I just like having a chance to dress up. I just, wanted to do this. And the number of people that kind of bought into that whole loadouts and stuff. So, yeah, I agree with you on that one.
Yeah, I think also as well, it's the fact that everyone is sort of on the same level. If you go to a skirmish, you don't know really what you're getting, player base wise. Whereas I think everyone tends to have the same sort of mentality when you go to a MilSim. Like, you want something a little bit more from doing airsoft. You want to have that storyline, background and things like that. You do want to. You do want to immerse yourself in something that's not real for a little while, whereas a skirmish is literally just running and gunning with your mates.
Yeah. There's more substance to it as well. We were saying this when we were sitting there. I know it's silly because we basically were playing drafts with people, but where we got our board in front of us and there's like we're moving people about and sort of coordinating that was obviously quite fast paced because it's a battle sim. There's an awful lot of stuff going on quite quickly. Whereas we were sort of saying with a MilSim, it just slows everything down a little bit when you're doing your single shots and your low mag capacities or real cap mags and all like that. The event slows down. I think that's not a negative because I think it means that you are thinking about it more and there's more enjoyment to that.
Yeah.
Right. High speed speedy boys running around with the laser guns and the super high capacity pistols and everything like that and sliding around on their knees from room to room. Probably not going to get that level of kick. Yeah, I saw that. I was going to bring that up in a second. They're probably not going to get that same level of enjoyment from a MilSim. But I think when you are playing and there is that kind of, right, we're going to strategize this. We're actually planning what we're going to do. And you're involved in the planning. And there's, information that you've been given that you've got to kind of digest and take that into account. And then you make that plan happen. So you're now working as a little team to follow a plan, and then the plan immediately falls apart because something goes wrong, and then you've got to work as a team to. It's almost like an escape room.
Yeah,
in that you're putting yourself in a scenario where, right, cool, nothing around you is in your control effectively, and you're trying to just work your way through it. So yeah. Steve Walker says the people and the places. And then Steve Walker says, by Andy Bob dressing up, he means a dress.
He loves it. Steve looks very good in high heel stockings, I must say, though.
Okay. Ross says, so as a person who's played multi-MilSims by different organisers over 10 years, I find it's all about what you want to make out of it.
Yeah.
So, it's a fair point. Defiant Events, James. A good friend of mine thinks I have the greatest business model ever. People pay me money and then I shout at them, effectively torture and cause them discomfort, and they love it. Yeah, I mean, there is an element of sadomasochism. Yeah, macatism. Mechanism. Oh God, what's sadomasochism? Yeah, I can't think of the word.
No, BDSM.
Yeah,
that'll do.
Sadomasochistic. Sadomasochism. That's it. Yeah. Sadomasochism. Oh God, I've lost it again. Sadomasochism. Oh, I'm not going to go. Sadomasochism. Masochism. What did you think about the podcast on Wednesday? Yeah, it was great, except the 5 minutes where they were just repeating the same word, unable to grasp what it was saying.
So I've got one question for you, which has popped up numerous times. And I like throwing it out there because...
It's not about my blanket, is it?
No. I like throwing it out there because it blows up every time. So, do you think airsoft MilSims are covered under sort of the LARP umbrella?
Yes.
I think they are as well. But some people are adamant that it isn't, and they'll die on that hill.
No, so I can see their point.
Yeah.
Because I think LARP, whenever anyone says LARP to me, I must profess, I immediately think of role models. You know, the film Role Models, where you've got the guy who does Superbad, like the really thin, skinny, blackhead guy. Oh, okay, so basically there's these two drunkards, basically, or whatever. They get given community service and they have to go and join like the Big Brother system and basically look after their little. And one of the kids that they're looking after is basically into LARP, and it's very much foam swords, foam shields. You know, they go to meet a community of people in the park. You've got people kind of whispering wizardy words and like with a stick or whatever, waving it around. And I think that is what a lot of people think LARP is, which it is, but there's so much other stuff to it as well. And I think personally, if you do a MilSim and you don't get involved in some form of LARP, you're probably not getting a lot out of the MilSim.
Yeah. Because LARP is, what is it? Live action
role play.
Which is basically, in my opinion, that's I think it is like as an overarching, say, abbreviation for what we do. I think we are covered underneath that sort of umbrella. But yeah, there's definitely some people that, and I've got to admit, like LARPing. When you say that to me, like your instant thought is, oh, that's stick wagglers.
That's a really good term.
What?
Rather wizards and warlocks, just stick wagglers.
Yeah, that's what it is. Like that's what, like when I was doing reenactments, like we always referred to the people that did like the medieval or the Roman, like they were always called stick wagglers because that's what they do. So I think it's very much the same sort of thing. Like I think if you're going to enjoy the MilSim side of things,
Ross has just said, "I cast 3-second machine gun bursts."
I'm going to do that next time. Immune.
You want to go full whatever the latest COD is. I've not played it actually, funnily enough, but I've seen a number of like gameplay videos where you know they pick up body armor and they're just constantly putting more body armor in, and you're like
stacked out.
That's what I'm sitting there thinking. Like, have they got like a plate carrier out the head just wandering around with stacks of body armor?
And I'm going to be controversial here. I don't enjoy COD. I haven't done for a long time.
No, it's too jumpy. Games, shoot 'em ups used to be good when, and this is controversial, it's probably my age, because I don't get on with things like Fortnite. But games used to be good when it, again, was slower. There was a little bit more tactics to it. But now it's far too much like... I mean, Battlefield, old school Battlefield was an absolute brilliant game. You're in a squad. 4. Yeah, and you get like a proper, like... Right, we're gonna roll as a tank team or something like that, and the two of you in the tank or whatever can actually work together and stuff like that. Whereas nowadays, it's all just blimmin' like sliding about and jumping out of planes, and you deploy your aeroplane suit and you're flying around, and then you deploy a parachute, you land, and you jump off and you deploy another parachute and stuff like that. And yes, Armour Reforger, brilliant. I haven't played it. I've seen a lot of the Armour gameplay, I haven't played it because my computer's shit. Basically, I can't play it. So yeah, that's it. But they were good games though, because you could do that, and like I really like games myself, like Ghost Recon, Breakpoint, Wildland or Badlands or Wildlands, something like that, where you can work as a team. And I like
Bad Company.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah. What was the old school? There was a really, really old school one with Foley and Connor and Bradley and Jones. There's a little team. The graphics on it were terrible. Hang on, let me just look it up. Bradley, Jones, Foley. Conflict Desert Storm. So it was the Conflict series. Yeah, Ross said Conflict. Yeah. So that was good because you've got like a little squad. You're working together. Squad Hell Let Loose would be up your street, Mike. Yeah. I tell you what, the best game that I have played in a very long time now was me and Wayne and David. I think David was on there as well. We did a Ghost Recon, but we took off all the HUD. So there's no maps or anything like that. And we're literally playing it like we would a MilSim. So we had someone on Overwatch basically keeping tabs on what was going on. And you can practice your comms and stuff like that. It's just good.
I'm gonna have to go.
That's fine. Well, let's end the show there because we've run for an hour and a half now anyway. Next week we are having a guest on.
I'll try and organise it.
Okay. In the meantime, if you want to get in touch with the show, you can do so on our email of nofochat@hotmail.com. Our Instagram is @November_Foxtrot_NoFo, and the website is novemberfoxtrot.co.uk. We will be at Shift Your Riffs, not this weekend, the weekend after, when it's actually on. So if you are coming down to Shift Your Riffs, please do come and say hello. We will have some stickers. We will have some bits and pieces for sale. We've got some merch now that we can preview and demonstrate and show you that you can put an order in. So we will have that for sale as well. We're going to be nestled between JBG to our left and Defiant to our right, who are very good friends of ours. So if there's a question that we can't answer, if you're interested in MilSims or anything like that, then we can obviously direct you to sort of training or event companies, etc., etc. So please do get in touch. It'll be absolutely fantastic to see you, and it's always nice to meet people that watch the show. And he's sending me secret messages. Okay, that's fine. Right, we will see you all next week. Have an absolutely cracking week, and stay NoFo and all that.
Stay NoFo.
And say goodbye, Andy.
Ciao, Bella. Bye. I'll explain all later.
Yeah, see you later. Have a good one. I was vaguely tempted to carry on the show, but I feel that we should probably end it. So have an absolutely cracking week, and we'll see you next week, Wednesday, 8:00. Have a good week.